The first thing you really need to learn, the scales. The chromatic scale, 12 notes, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, so on and so forth, all the way up to B, and then C back down. So sharps up, flats down. That's your basic 12-note foundation for Western music. Then we have your major scale, and that is the foundation of pretty much everything for Western music. Modes are displacements of major scales, so they are the same as a major scale. The only difference between Ionian mode, right, or Dorian, is it's the same scale as, let's say, C, but you start on the D note. So right now we're just going to start. We'll get into modes in another lesson or another stream, but for now we don't want to get ahead of ourselves. We'll start here with the major scale. So major scale is 7 notes, 8 notes with the octave: C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Now these little marks here was the best I could do to show you where the half steps and the whole steps are. The pattern for a scale would be whole step, or whole tone, depending on your vernacular, whole tone, half step, semitone, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. So the half steps are between 3 and 4 and 7 and 8 for the major scale. That is crucial to know. Once you know that, that is the foundation. If you don't know that, it's going to just make everything else more complicated later on. But if you have this as a foundation, it can help you do everything from building on top of that to adding scales, new scales, chords, creating your own chords, figuring out what the chords are and how they're built, as well as intervals and everything, depending on how far you want to take it, right? And all of this stuff can help with soloing and improvisation, lead playing, all of that stuff. So then the same thing here, that's C. Then we go to D. I've typed out every key here so you can see it, but we go D, D, E, F sharp. And why it's F sharp is because, again, the pattern, whole step to E, D to E, and then another whole step from E goes to F sharp. Not to F, because to F, there are 2 natural half steps between E and F and B and C, as we can see up here in the chromatic scale. C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F. There you go. There's your natural half step. And then you go up here, C, or B to C. So with the C scale, there are no accidentals. It's all natural. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. The natural half steps fall between on the 3 and the 4 and the 7 and the 8. So when you get to other keys, your starting note is different. It's going to change where those half steps are. So as a result, you're going to end up with accidentals. D, E, F sharp to G, because instead of going to G sharp, we just go to G because it's a half step. Then A, B, C sharp to D, natural half step. And it keeps going like this. And I've moved on to E flat. If you notice, I didn't put C sharp and D sharp here because we'll get to that. I did that for a reason. I have E flat here instead of D sharp, and there is no E sharp. So we go to F. And because of that pattern where the half steps are, you end up with 1 accidental, the B flat. Same thing with G. You end up with 1 accidental, the F sharp, on the 7th. The A, you have 3. A, B, C sharp to D, E, F sharp, G sharp to A. And then we go to B flat. We have 2. And then we have more here with the key of B. Now this one, again, it's the same pattern though. You just end up with 5 sharps. It looks scary. And I know it did for me when I first started seeing all those, what's all that crazy writing there? But it really isn't that big a deal. So here's C sharp. Now, there's a reason why you do C sharp and D flat. These are the two keys. Well, the next three keys are the ones that are not very common, at least not in rock and roll. You hear it, funny enough, in pop music quite a bit. And the reason for that is mostly to do with singers, their range. And it's wherever their vocal tends to land and what's more comfortable for them. So that can end up in these odd keys. But C sharp is easy. It's just everything's a sharp. That's it. You just raised everything up. So it's easy to read. D flat, you have five flats instead of everything being sharp. Now, it depends on what your preference would be. That's what you call enharmonic. They're the same thing. It doesn't really matter whether it's C sharp or D flat. The only time something like that matters is you wouldn't want to write a score for a string section, for example. You wouldn't want to write some things in C sharp and other things in D flat because of the way string players, there's no frets. So when people play in a sharp key, they tend to play just a little bit ahead, just a little bit on top of the note on the string. And when they play a flat key, it's a little bit back, a little bit behind. So you want to make sure everybody's kind of doing the same motion. You can end up with a weird dissonance there if you're not careful. I don't know if anybody here is orchestrating for symphonies, but that's the rule that I was taught. So then we get to F sharp and G flat. Similar situation, very uncommon keys. We have 6 sharps as opposed to 6 flats. So pick your poison, right? It just depends on which way you want to write these things. This is a good exercise to do if you're so inclined, is to just write these out either by hand or in a computer or whatever, and just follow that pattern. That's why I'm showing you all of this stuff. It seems repetitive, but the idea is you get that formula or pattern in your head. So that way you can go through and you get familiar with all of the keys. That way, when you're playing a song and somebody says, "Oh, key of whatever, B," and you know it. You know what it is. And then we get into G sharp versus A flat. Now here, you typically would only do A flat. You wouldn't do G sharp. And the reason for that is because it's the one key that's enharmonic that has a double sharp. So unnecessarily complicated. Why play in a key that has 6 sharps plus a double sharp when you can just play in a key that has 4 flats? It's just easier. So typically, you won't see the key of G sharp. You'll just see A flat. And then here, C flat. Unnecessary. I've seen that before. I've seen some songs, they say, "Oh, it's in the key of C flat." Why? It's just the key of B. In fact, I left it blank here because I wanted to show you what the computer does when it tries to do. I say C flat, it changes it to B. Even it knows that it's unnecessary. That's the major scale, and that's kind of the foundation. That's why I wanted to start there with this, with the first video segment on music theory, and we'll go along. I think next week I'm going to do we'll do chords, and we'll get into modes and intervals, and we'll just keep going as far as we can take it. So this here at the bottom is your key signatures. So this is what you'll see on a piece of sheet music to indicate what key you're in. You're not going to see these notes on the top, C, G, D, A, E. You're not going to see that. You're just going to see the accidentals. So with C, there's nothing, obviously. With G, you'll see 1 sharp. You'll just see that, but you won't see the chord. So you have to, this is kind of something you have to commit to memory, which is the reason for when I took my music theory courses, the very first thing we had to do was write out all of the major scales. If anybody's interested, if they want a copy of this, I can upload it to the website where I put all the charts for the lessons. Just let me know in the comments, and I will upload a PDF of it to the website. Thank you guys for watching this live stream clip on the TeleDynes YouTube channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe, share the video around, leave a comment in the comment section below. All of that stuff really helps the channel, and it's totally free. You can also click that notification bell to let you know when new videos drop. Don't forget you can join in on the live stream where we go over guitar techniques, riffs, break down songs, and a little music theory. And we finally got the shop up and running. We have t-shirts, buttons, stickers, hoodies, and of course the TeleDynes All Original CD. And if you want to help the channel further, you can join up as a member on YouTube or Patreon for as little as $3 a month, and it all goes to help support the channel and the band, as well as give you access to all of the content ad-free. So thanks again to everyone, and an extra special thanks to all the YouTube and Patreon members that help make this channel possible. So have a good one, and we'll see you next time.